this business saying I was going to expose.
Them superpowers get neutralized like a homely watch inside us. The first artist we once knew was looking paranoid and now spiraling. You're moving just like a degenerate, having antic is feeling distasteful. I calculate you, not as calculated. How can they predict your angle? Fabricate stories on the family front, cause you heard Mr. Morale, a pathetic master manipulator. I can smell the lines from you now. You're not a rap artist, you're a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. Tommy Hilfiger stood out, but FUBU never had been your collection. I make music that electrify, you make music that pacify. I can double down on that line, but spray this time. Random acts of kindness. Know you're a master manipulator and a habitual liar too. But don't tell no lie about me, and I'm gonna tell the truth about you.
On the labels on private prison.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't.
It's not just Diddy, it's like BlackRock and Vanguard. They actually own the music industry and control the music.
Wait. The investment houses of BlackRock and Vanguard, they own the music industry?
Absolutely. From Sony Music Group to they're the most invested in the music industry. They're the most through Viacom. They own BET, MTV, VH1. They're in control.
They not like us? You're 100% right. He's not like you. He's royalty. So to my boy Drake, I hope this reaches you. Remember, they are telling you very clearly, you are not like them. You are a Jewish man. Be proud, be loud, and stand up and be counted for who you truly are.
And your homeboy needs a peanut, they're predator moving flocks. That name gotta be registered and placed on neighborhood watch. I lean on you niggas like another line on. Yeah, it's all lies on me and I'ma send it up to. Hey, pick the wrong label on me, I'ma get them. Sweet chin music and I won't pass up. How many stocks do I really have a stock? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus. Tricky ass never did a free app. Tricky ass niggas need to steady ass it. Yeah.
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours, peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome. Let me know how we sounding on the sound. Let me know how we sound on the sound. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, we Gucci up in this biatch. You said not too clear. Hold on. Music that passes. You make music. Yeah. Hold on a minute. Let me switch something up. Let me put this the intro on one more again.
Came in this business saying I was going to expose.
Them superpowers get neutralized like a homely watch inside us. The first artist we once knew was looking paranoid and now spiraling. You're moving just like a degenerate, having antic is feeling distasteful. I calculate you, not as calculated. How can they predict your angle? Fabricate stories on the family front, cause you heard Mr. Morale, a pathetic master manipulator. I can smell the lines from you now. You're not a rap artist, you're a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. Tommy Hilfiger stood out for fool never had been a collection. I make music that electrify 'em. You make music that pacify 'em. I could double down on that line, but spray this time. Random acts of kindness. Know you're a master manipulator and a habitual liar too. But don't tell no lie about me, and I'm gonna tell the truth about you.
I got to be mindful of copyrights. Them people ain't playing about this material that they own and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? So we got to be mindful of that. I would love to play the whole damn show for y'all, but you know how that is. You know what I mean? We got to, I'm already going to get a copyright when we finish this show. So I'll just deal with it from there. But first and foremost, how's everybody doing? Good evening. Happy summer solstice to the family in the building and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Yes, sir. We are here. We are in the building, y'all. Let's just leave it like that. It's a beautiful summer day. The longest day of the year, might I add. Make sure to make the best of it. You will be spending an hour or more with me tonight, and we will go through some of the things that we need to go through and whatnot. You dig? Yes, make sure that you hit that like button. Let the algorithm know that we are in the building. I really appreciate the consistency in which people are watching these videos. We're getting our numbers up. Ultimately, I want to get back up to my 100,000. You know what I'm talking about? And it's gonna be steps to take that. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you share the video, share it like a rumor. Make sure you leave comments. You know what I mean? Do the things that are going to make this video get into the recommendation of the algorithm, and it could spread throughout the quote unquote YouTube ecosphere. You know what I mean? Yeah, so let's do the roll call. Let's see who's in the building. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, we are definitely up. It's always us and not them. You feel me? Always us and not them. They not like us. How many times do we have to remind them? But yeah, we're gonna keep reminding them. That part. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah. Let's go with the roll call and let's give everybody their shout outs. We got Trinidad and Tobago in the bill. It don't get no more lit than that. You know what I mean? It don't get no more lit than that. Trinidad and Tobago tapping in, eating roti, watching the Mondem cook. You know what I mean? Watching the Mondem do what he does. Salute to y'all. You feel me? We have Denver in the building. Shout out to Denver. We got Flint Town. Shout out to Flint Town. We have Phoenix, Arizona, and we have Sanford in the building. Shout out to Sanford. You already know it's always love to Sanford. Y'all always tapping in. Chicago in the building. Shout out to the Chirac, Yay area. We got Shreveport up in this thing. Bay Area. What's going on, Bay Area? Y'all all right? Damn. The Mondem was celebrating Juneteenth, and then there was a shootout in Oakland. Come on, man. And it looked crazy too. I hope everybody out there in the Bay is all right, man. We're gonna be all right. Don't worry about it. We got you. We're not gonna turn our backs on each other. We not finna do that this summer. We're not about to leave y'all hanging high and dry and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna pray for you. St. Louis is in the building. We got Rome in the building, Rome, Georgia. We got the big island of Hawaii in the building, Yay area, Miami. You feel me? NOLA, the NOLA babies. Yes, Charlotte in the building, Los Angeles. Los Angeles. Los Angeles. Shout out to Inglewood. Y'all niggas is lit right now. You have the opportunity to have this summer. You might be able to take the summer. Who knows? Rumor has it you niggas might take the summer.
State of your well-being.
I'm talking about. We'll see. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? We will see. Because it's gonna take more than this Kendrick song. I'll just let you know that. Seattle in the building. We got DC in the building. We got Alabama in this thing. We got Lafayette up in this thing. You dig? Yeah, man. We got Oakland pulling up, town business. You know what I'm talking about? Memphis, Tennessee. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Yes, sir. UK up in it. Yeah, UK up in it. What time is it over there in the UK? You dedicated. That's what I'm talking about. You on one. New Orleans. New Orleans. Uh-huh. Fort Lauderdale. Yes, sir. By way of Rough Buff. Yes, sir. We see you. Kansas City up in the state. Greenville. I was wondering where the Carolinas. Yes, indeed. Shout out to the Carolinas. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody. Yeah, we responsible. It's 7 o'clock where I'm at on a Thursday. It ain't midnight or 1 a.m. You feel me? I had the option to do that, but I said, you know what? Let's get the early show in because I'm feeling the early vibes. I like to build when the sun is out. You know what I mean? It's one of those days because this is the summer solstice. So, in case you may have not been reminded, you might have forgotten. That's why we're here to give you that heads up and whatnot. You feel me? We're gonna go and heads up. I want to do a vote. We are going into a new season. The summer of season, the season of summer has started, and they like, yo, people been feeling the blackout mode and whatnot. They like the blackout bills and whatnot. So is it time to go back on camera, or should we continue the blackout mode? Maybe leading up to, I don't know, the Jason months or something, then we might take another vote. You know what I mean? Because to be honest with you, it's not really always about what I feel. It's about how y'all feel. You know what I'm saying? Rich and Blue had me ready to turn my damn camera on yesterday. I was feeling guilty, you know what I'm saying? But then I was like, you know what? Let me just stick to my guns and stay with the blackout because I like the blackout. You know what I mean? The blackout, it allows me to black out. You know what I mean? And sometimes you do gotta pop out on shoulders, but you know, it's time. It's time will tell. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all liking the blackout season? You feel me? I love to include the people. I love to include the KT aliens. I don't like doing things and it's just like because I do, I'm white and I say so. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that. I like to include this is a democracy. This is a democracy. You feel me? So I like the blackout mode. I'm comfortable with it. It removes anxiety and shit like that. I don't have to worry about my lighting and everything and all of this other stuff. But yeah, sometimes you gotta pop out and blackout. Yes, yes, yes. So let's get right to it. We don't gotta waste no time. Now, let me preface the conversation that we will have tonight. It will be multifaceted. Of course, you do know that we have something coming up very, very soon. I believe in 9 days with the good sister Vicky Dillard. You know what I mean? Here is what we got coming up. Jason 24, but it's called When in Rome, right? When in Rome. And Jason is an acronym for July, August, September, October, and November. November is election month. So these next 5 months, ladies and gentlemen, I shit you not. Please don't think that I am trying to gas you up. Don't think that I am trying to put you on fear time and whatnot, because I'm not. But the Jason months is the months that the quote unquote elites, these are people who do rituals. These are people who are in control of a lot of things in this world and whatnot. This is when they get busy. This is when they really start to spirit cook. This is when they put their agenda in full effect. From July, you are going to see an uptick. You might get a July surprise because this next 5 months will be livicated, aka dedicated to getting one of these men in the quote unquote seat of power. And from the looks of it, based off of the research that I've been doing, especially after reading Project 2025, right, and hearing other people's take on it, like my good brother B Dell, he did a great breakdown. Blue Pill's been breaking it down and whatnot, and a few other people have touched on it. In my humble opinion, they are going to make sure that Donald Trump is the president, right? They have a lot banking on it. He has a lot of support, okay? Monetarily, he has a lot of support. He has a lot of energy that they are putting behind it and whatnot in terms of the people and whatnot. The people are definitely pro-Trump. So for the next 5 months, the shit show is going to ramp up. We're going to see arrests. We're going to see these rappers become convicted of certain crimes and whatnot. We might not see P. Diddy get convicted within the 5 months, but I'm predicting that we will see more of the downward spiral. It's not going to change trajectory. Okay, we are watching dominoes fall, and once one domino falls, then another domino falls. And for the people who will be like, why are we talking about P. Diddy and why are we talking about these rappers? We are talking about them because we want to liberate the minds of the youth. Most importantly, we want to help to liberate the minds and the souls and the spirits of grown-ass people who have forgotten that they're grown-ass people and are still functioning as teenagers, because if you really pay attention, the spell is thick. And what I mean by that is that people are underneath a massive spell, and it involves frequencies, okay? It involves subtle energies. It involves ideas and concepts and narratives that we are not in control of. So dominoes such as a P. Diddy, aka Sean Combs, they need to fall so we could get to the big fish and whatnot. I play video games coming up and whatnot, and you couldn't make it to the final boss until you was able to beat the other bosses and whatnot. So we can't get to the Clive Davises. We can't get to the real puppet masters until we move their minions out of the way. The minions have to fall. You can't even talk about getting to these big wigs, these big execs and whatnot until you get these gatekeepers out the way. And life is beating him up. It's stomping him out. You know what I'm saying? He's not the only one. I'm projecting and I'm seeing the writing on the wall. Sean Carter is next. Okay, Sean Carter is next, and we'll get into some of the machinations behind the takedown of Jay-Z on this show. We'll touch on some things, but he's definitely next. Make no mistake about it. They are, quote unquote, he is the second Sean that they're aiming for to take out of this quote unquote power game and whatnot. But yeah, let's get right into what we saw, or not what we saw. Let's get into what I saw last night. We were on Brother Rich's show, right? Hold on. I'm gonna play this commercial in a minute. Matter of fact, let's play this commercial right now. Let me celebrate my brother KT3RD, which is my younger brother. People may not know that, but KT is making big moves. We was having this conversation during the NBA Finals about how Kyrie Irving is tapped in, but Jaylen Brown is also tapped in as well. You know what I'm talking about? Jaylen Brown may be more tapped in with the family than Kyrie Irving. So I was rooting for Jaylen. Check this out.
State of your well-being can determine mind. The state of your well-being can determine how you go forward.
They not like us.
So we should all fast a little bit more.
Yeah, to whatever degree you feel comfortable with, but actively challenge yourself, because that's where growth happens.
The 2024 Bill Russell Finals MVP goes to Jaylen Brown.
So KT is Jaylen Brown's holistic health advisor, right? KT3RD is Jaylen Brown's holistic health advisor, all right? So the young man is doing big things right now. I'm very proud of him. They have an interview coming up on the YouTube, and when that interview launches, I will definitely let y'all know where to find it and where to catch it and whatnot. But I'm just showing y'all that the young brother is making moves in this community, and you should be proud of him. You know what I mean? He's making his mother proud. He's making Dr. Sebi proud, and he's making his children proud, and he's making his brothers and his sisters and his family proud as well. So, you know, we here to elevate one another. You know what I'm talking about? So, yeah, last night, while we were doing the show with Brother Rich on Black Magic 363, I'll drop the link to that show called Christ Consciousness. That one was a powerful representation of information and whatnot coming from Red and Blue and Brother Rich. And during the show, the good brother Kendrick Lamar, right, was having a powerful demonstration. You know what I'm talking about? He was having a demonstration at the LA Forum called the Pop Out, right? Ken and Friends present the Pop Out. And they was definitely popping out, right? So what it was it was fire because it was basically a concert, right, inside of the Forum, right out there in Inglewood. You know what I mean? Shout out to Inglewood. I always say this. When I went to Inglewood during Nipsey Hussle's Ascension Protocol, we went for his burial at the State Farm Arena, and we were able to meet his mother. We was able to meet some of his family, and we were tapping in and whatnot. And we were able to move around LA, and see the politics. You know what I'm saying? We were able to move around different neighborhoods. We were able to move around different people who are shot callers out there. And we also was able to, we was able to tap in. We went to Inglewood and we went to a spot that deals with Bitcoins and blockchain. This was one of the places that Nipsey Hussle was bigging up and whatnot. And it was a tearjerker damn near, you know what I mean? Because we knew the importance of carrying on his legacy, because at the end of the day, his legacy more so than anything was in danger after he made transition. Yes, blockchain plug is the name of the spot. Blockchain plug. And whoever was there, shout out to y'all, because it was a pop-up event and we put the word out there and they pulled up real quick. All right. This is the link right here for the YouTube show with me and Rich and Brother Blue, you know what I'm saying, from last night, called Christ Consciousness. So while we were doing Christ Consciousness, Kendrick Lamar was doing this concert at the Forum and whatnot. So I was able to watch it after the show. I actually was watching it before the show, the build up to it. So I got to see the rollout. You know what I mean? I got to see I got to see the the beginning of the concert. There's a DJ out there that they've been propping up called DJ Head. Now, pardon me if I'm not familiar with his track record. If you're from LA and DJ Head, you're familiar with him and you know where he comes from and his work and whatnot, please enlighten me, because I only really heard about him through Elliott Wilson around the time of the rap beef and whatnot. He kind of got like pushed to the front, and he did a set where he brought out, it was like a mixtape. He was like a mixtape DJ in a sense. He was doing what DJs supposed to do. Now, if anybody is familiar with some of my famous rants and whatnot, I completely went a dummy and a fool when I was talking about the fact that the DJs have failed us. You feel me? When I said that the DJs failed us, what I meant was I don't really know DJs that break music anymore. And I was confused about that because I was like, how is it that DJs don't break music anymore? And that was the job of the DJ. They were breaking records. The DJ was supposed to introduce you to the artist, because whatever the DJ says, you supposed to go along with it, because the DJ is the most knowledgeable one. Why I gotta go search for an artist now? Why do I have to do the painstaking details of trying to figure out if this man is real, if this artist is dope, who said that this artist was dope, who co-signed? This is what the DJ is supposed to be doing and telling us this is the quote unquote wave right here. This guy is hot. You know what I mean? I remember when Funkmaster Flex was functional and he would drop bombs on the song. This is before you could buy the bombs. right? This is before you could buy the bombs. Now with payola, you cannot trust none of these DJs. You can't trust the DJ pools. When you look at Funkmaster Flex, who I would say he's one of the DJs that co-opted this whole DJ thing, because when they got rid of the mixtape DJ, they came with these DJ pools and whatnot. So what a DJ pool is, it's a pool of DJs from around the country, maybe around the world and whatnot. And what Funkmaster Flex does, he does like program directors do. He'll put out a list of songs that they're all supposed to be playing, right? But those list of songs are bought and paid for by the labels and the artists and whatnot. So he's basically saying, all right, he'll tell the record label, if you want me to break your artist, if you want me to break a song from one of your artists, I'm gonna be sending it to 100 DJs. So I might need 100,000. So they taking half of your budget. You feel me? They taking half of your budget to break you in different regions where you would never probably get broke, because you know the DJs in Chattanooga and whatnot, they not gonna play your shit if you are a local jokel and whatnot. But if you are part of the DJ Funkmaster Flex DJ pool, then you are going to get into that. Now is graduated into the playlist. So you look at Rap Caviar that's on Spotify. You look at all of these playlists and whatnot. These playlists, you could buy your way into the playlist. I don't got enough coins to be buying my way into nobody's playlist. I'm going to do it organically. You know what I'm talking about? Whether it's to my detriment. You know what I'm talking about? Red Pill get on at 66. Red Pill, Red and Blue is going to get on at 66 because we're not going to buy our way in. But now the DJs are doing playlists. The playlists all sound the same. They're not breaking no new artists. The last artist that these people got behind to break was the Griselda crew. And, you know, people would say that it's organic, but I would say, no, they were signed to Shady and Rock Nation. What the fuck is organic about that? Like, come on, man. What's you get a phone call and it says Rock Nation on the other line? Whatever the hell they tell you to do, you're gonna do it. You get a phone call and it says Shady Records, and they're like, yo, I got these new artists that I want you to play. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna play it because you want that Eminem favor. 9 times out of 10 with Rock Nation, you're gonna play it because you want that Rihanna when she decides to make music, or you want that Jay-Z feature. You're not gonna tell them no. So that's how these companies have become like management companies. There's not labels anymore. They just management companies that make phone calls and do favors and pull all of these strings, and they're attached to touring companies like Live Nation. So if I get signed to a record deal, now they could promise me tours and whatnot. You know, it's more enticing to have people sign their lives away, because you know the money is on tours. So that if you get signed to Rock Nation, you're guaranteed to be on one of these tours or mini tours because they're in bed with Rock Nation. Henceforth, Rock Nation is Live Nation and Rockefeller Records together, and it became Rock Nation. The nation is for Live Nation, okay, which just got sued, right? They just put a lawsuit on them for being a monopoly. I believe it was New York State or somebody put a lawsuit on Live Nation because they like, yo, this is a monopoly. Y'all are selling Taylor Swift concert tickets for $4,000 in a fucking inside of a recession during inflation. You selling $3,000 tickets, $4,000 tickets, $5,000 tickets to see Cowboy Carter. It doesn't make too much sense. You know what I'm talking about? So these DJs are trash. I said all of that to say that these DJs are trash. They're not doing, rock inflation. They're not doing what they supposed to be doing, and that's breaking artists. Last night, I saw DJ Head pause breaking artists, right? I would some of those artists, I would hope that he didn't break. When you break an egg, they say that you can't unbreak an egg. Well, he should have put some of those eggs back in the carton. And I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna just say this: the best thing that Kendrick Lamar could give to the West Coast right now is to take all them young niggas and teach them how to not rap over their vocals. That is the best contribution that Kendrick Duckworth Lamar can give to the West Coast right now, to teach all of these young niggas how to not rap over their vocals. Okay, that's what he could do for them. Outside of everything else that he's doing, he needs to do a master class workshop on how to perform in front of mad people. That's the best thing that he could do for the West Coast right now. And that's not hate, that's not shade, that's just facts. The fuck? I can't do it. I can't do it, bro. I rap over my vocals. You know what I'm talking about? I do that. You know what I mean? But I made a commitment last night on guard. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. If this how I look and if this is how I sound, I'm not going to do no shows until I meet up with Kendrick and this nigga teaches me how to rap without my vocals, because that's not it right there. That is not it. I thought it was, but child, that ain't it. These little niggas that Rolling Loud, y'all paying all of that money for concert tickets to hear a nigga mumble over his lyrics. Don't do it. Don't do it. It was given the whole show a bad look at first, because I was like, what is this cockamamie bullshit? Like, what are we doing? This is Amazon. I almost canceled my subscription because I'm like, how they bringing out gangbangers as rapping over beats and whatnot? They not even crip walking, bro. Like, these niggas was mad stiff, just doing whatever local songs that the locals know, but the shit didn't reach it didn't reach the South yet, it didn't reach the Midwest, and it surely didn't reach the East Coast. You know what I'm talking about? The first person that I was familiar with was none of them. You know what I'm talking about? It was really none of them. Until DJ Mustard came out, you know? Then I was like, okay. You know what I'm saying? All right. Who do you love? Rowdy Rich came out. I feel bad for Rowdy Rich. Rowdy Rich, this is Red Pill. This is Brother Rich Phil. Fam, if you don't want to rap, just say it. You know what I'm talking about? If you don't want to rap, just tell us. Like, you was out there like you did not want to be out there, bro. And then to make things worse, they didn't turn his mic on, man. What's going on, fam? This in front of the world. You know what I mean? Henceforth, why when they talk about the performance, they're not talking about Roddy Ricch. They supposed to be talking about Roddy Ricch. Son had a wave. Roddy Ricch got songs with Nipsey. He had the box. The box. That was my shit in the year 2020. Remember, he dropped in the beginning of the year. He had the hottest album in the beginning of 2020, going into C19. He was catching bodies. They didn't turn his mic on. He didn't look like he wanted to be there. You know what I'm talking about? His fit was not fitting. He had a fucking toy on the side of his. What are we doing, Roddy? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? And then YG came and bodied that shit. You saw the difference in performances. YG had the hot mic. His mic was going crazy and he was performing. Yes, the whole crowd was singing the Roddy the Box. Yes, but his mic was not on. West, is this Westbrook talking to us? I think this is Westbrook. Fam, his mic wasn't on. It looked cute when the box came on, but he wasn't into his performance, because when YG came out, he showed you the big difference. It went from 3 to about 7. It went from about 3 to 7. Dead ass. Why? And YG don't got more. YG, in my humble opinion, does not have a better catalog. He's not a better artist than Roddy Ricch. But of course, on the West Coast, he is. I'm sure. I'm sure his shit hit harder on the West Coast because, you know, he's more of a legacy artist. He goes way back. I remember YG when I could not stand him. I was like, who is this nigga? This is a favor This rapper is a favorite. This is somebody's favorite right here. This is not a rapper when he first came out. I'm just saying that's how I felt. That's just, you know, but his energy is undeniable. YG got that energy, you know what I mean? And YG has a catalog, and you know, he was sure himself. The boy Roddy Ricch was not sure himself. I'm just judging right now. I'm judging performances because I don't want to fool and trick anybody. Don't worry, it gets greater later. No worry. Yeah, where was Baby Keem? Is he doing a bit or something? Like, what the fuck? How you gonna miss that one? Where was Baby Keem? I was wondering. I thought I was waiting for that song to come on with him and his cut. That's his cousin. Here we go. I disagree. The East has its gems, and so does the West. Okay. What all right. Who's your gem? Who's the gem? What are we saying? YG is your gem? Huh? That's what you bragging about? YG? All right. But what I'm saying is this, from a perspective of where I said that he bodied it. I say he did his thing. You know what I mean? He did what he's supposed to do. He has gotten better as an artist. And then I heard some of his songs. He got some slaps. You know what I mean? He do have a catalog. He do have a catalog. You know what I'm saying? Look, here we go. Can we talk about how New York been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed him? Nigga, Biggie came after fucking Snoop. What are you talking about, Tony the Tiger? Nigga, the whole 50, the whole mixtape world came after Snoop came through and crushed the buildings. That's 92. We took over hip hop right after that. So what are you talking about? How did it go soft? It went soft when P. Diddy got Biggie clipped. That's when it went bad. I could tell you that. It went bad after Biggie got clipped. That's when it went bad. You know what I mean? And them niggas got clapped at. So don't make it seem like they just came through and knocked down buildings. They was knocking down buildings, and them motherfucking shots was coming right after that too. They ran up out of there. That was a green screen. They had to go through a green screen. They went to Red Hook and got aired out. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Yeah. And is Ab-Soul on probation? Why the fuck did not we hear something from Control Theory? They gave, I'm just looking at what I'm looking at. Sometimes I'm left-handed. I was talking about that earlier. I see things differently. 60% of the crowd was Mexican. Patos locos. That's right. How many of them were Nordics, though? There's a lot of white people saying nigga. So I'm gonna pop out and show niggas, right? That one, let's talk about this psychosis. Let's talk about this cognitive dissonance that's going on with niggas, right? That y'all don't like white people saying niggas on TikTok or wherever else you say that you don't like it. But when they come to a concert, though, because I was watching Chief Keef in Chicago, and that was a bunch of white people saying, I'm a gorilla in the fucking suit. What the fuck with you? No, nigga. What the fuck with you? What a bow, nigga. Ho, nigga. What a bow, nigga. Oh, yeah. They was going crazy with the N-word. You know what I mean? They was going crazy with the N-word. So I'm just saying, like, when is, you know what I mean? Are y'all still on that N-word thing? Are you still on that N-word thing? Because you gotta, it don't make sense no more. It doesn't make sense anymore. You know? Oh, New York is definitely trash right now. You won't have me trying to act like it's not. New York is hot basura. You know what I mean? It's hot basura. You know what I'm talking about? Dumpster juice. Yeah, I'm not gonna be capping for New York rappers right now. That shit trash. You know what I'm talking about? It's trash. I keep it real. 50 Cent imploded New York City hip hop. That he did. That he did. You know what I mean? That he did. I could agree to that. You know, Ab-Soul is definitely, Ab-Soul is a problem. I remember Control Theory in 2012. That might have been one of my favorite albums. I remember telling conscious people who was so conscious that they was acting like they didn't listen to rap back then. I'm like, yo, There's this group called Black Hippie. It's this nigga named Ab Soul. It's this kid called Kendrick. And niggas was acting real high sedity. A lot of y'all wasn't around, so y'all don't even know how fake it was. But dudes used to put on a lot of pompous air and whatnot about their listening or what they were listening to in the earlier days of consciousness, where you couldn't be fully hip hop. You had to hide it. You know what I mean? You had to hide the fact that you was into hip hop back in those days until it became acceptable. You know, so dudes didn't even know who the hell Ab Soul was. You know what I'm talking about? Dave East. I'm not really into Dave East like that. Keep it a buck with you. I don't think Dave East have even found his voice yet. You know, I don't even think he's found his voice. You know, it was mostly white people and Latinos in the audience. Yeah, they the ones that know how to get them tickets, man, fast. You know, we get the ticket the day of. Black people, we gonna get the ticket the day of and shit. You know what I'm talking about? White folks, they get the ticket the day it goes on sale. Opposites attract. I said this before. Opposites attract. And people might be like, you cap, what does that mean? Well, go to any concert. Opposites attract. You understand? It's a lucrative business model. Opposites attract because our biggest supporters are not our people. They're not our people. Niggas want to talk about they nicer than you and whatnot that look like you. Our biggest supporters are whites, Asians, Mexicans, Indians, the opposites, and they attract. Don't be upset when you realize that. Don't make no qualms about it. Opposites attract when it comes to this music and when it comes to the arts and whatnot. Your biggest supporters will not look like you. Check it out. Your biggest supporters will not look like you. White people are in awe of the talents that we possess. Black people are envious and jealous and hateful of the talents that we possess. Do you see the differences? You know what I'm talking about? Do you see the differences? Right? Ross Koss is from Carson. Ab Soul is from Carson. Yeah. Listen, Ross Koss, when I heard Nature of the Threat, I damn near cried. You know what I'm saying? I damn near cried. Now, keep in mind, when I say opposites attract, I have to do a disclaimer because, man, oh man, y'all ready to run out the house and jump on something right now. Opposites attract when it comes to the arts, the music, not everything. It's opposites attract when it comes to the music. And this is an observation. You feel me? Me personally, when it comes to this music thing that me and Blue is doing, I had a conversation with an established artist, and I'm not going to be name dropping and whatnot. He's lit overseas, right? Him and his group and his crew and whatnot. They got motion in like Frankfurt, Germany, and Amsterdam. And I was like, yeah, get me across the pond, my nigga. Put me in front of these Germans, and I need to go to the Netherlands and Japan. I am not wasting my time on the Chitlin circuit. I don't want to rap for these niggas. No disrespect. They looking for a cow. They into country music. Like black people want Shabuzi and they want Cowboy Carter. They want country music. They want their opposites. They looking at Tommy Richardson with the $1 Million Baby, nigga. They want Vanilla Ice. Opposites attract. Put me in front of the Asians, my nigga. Put me in front of the Indians. I am not heavy lifting with these Negroes. Okay? I'll come back and do some free shows for y'all on Juneteenth. But other than that, I am not marketing. I am not pitching. I am not putting my career in the hands of black folk. Okay? Because I don't do black folk type of things. I don't belong on the Chitlin circuit because I'm not talking about moving weight. I'm not talking about moving weight. I'm not talking about, I don't pop no coochie and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't a pimp. That's the type of shit that they want to hear on the Chitlin circuit. Send me across the pond to the people who listen to lyrics and they're fascinated by the culture. That's what I'm into. You know, I want to sell vinyl and shit like that. I want to sell merch. I want to sell my artwork. I want to sell, you know what I mean? Black folk is giving you this poor ass excuse about what they can. I can't afford $9. Fam. Listen, let me tell you something. You know what I mean? I'm just giving everybody the heads up. So y'all don't think when y'all see me in front of a white crowd that I sold out. You damn right, I sold out the forum. How about that? I sold out the arena. Leave me alone. You know what I'm talking about? I give you the consciousness. I did my community service. But when it comes to my art, this is the science right here. This ain't art that we doing. This is the science. When I do my art, I'm not doing my art in front of my people because I know that my people don't respect my art. I'm doing it in front of these people who are flabbergasted by me. These people are enamored by my intellect. These people are enamored by me and my brother's skills and whatnot. They love KT the arts degree. White folks, you understand? They got a whiff of KT the arts degree, and we ain't seen them since. You know what I'm talking about? We ain't seen him since, bro. I'm trying to explain something to you. Opposites attract, and we the fathers of civilization. We the fathers of civilizations. We're daddy. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm going to talk to my children. I'm going to talk to my children. You feel me? They just can't, you know, I ain't gonna let them touch on me and whatnot. But these are our children, and they're enamored by what we have to offer. They haven't, once they figure all of that out, then they won't be too enamored. But right now, they haven't figured us all the way out. They can't figure out Kendrick. They haven't figured out Kendrick. They haven't figured out what makes Kendrick Duckworth Lamar tick. You know what I mean? They are captured by his artistic, quote unquote, his artistic flair. They love shit like that. You know what I mean? They love things like that. So yeah, don't beat me up. Don't talk crazy about me. Don't make memes on me. Just respect the fact that wherever success finds me is where I'll be. You dig what I'm saying? And I know where the pot of gold is at. When it comes to the arts, I'm not gonna go teach them the science. Keep that in mind. How's that for being loyal? You will never have to worry. Well, let me not say never, right? But you're not gonna worry. I'm not gonna go to other places where we're not at and teach the science. I will go to learn if they got some science to learn, to give up. You know what I mean? If they want to share something, I'll go and get it for you. But I'm bringing the science back to the people. But when it comes to the arts, I'm doing the arts. There's no color. There's no restriction on the art. There's certain gems that I have that I will never say in a room full of people that don't look like me. You feel me? And I'm not trying to mesmerize nobody to look like me. What I'm trying to do and what I've been doing, because I could say it now, and this is not self immolation, or this is not self-aggradation and whatnot. This is just from observation as to what I've seen. You know what I mean? People walk up to me and tell me these things. So the information or the science, it has benefited people that look like me. So this is what I continue to do with all of my heart and whatnot. This is what I love doing. You know what I mean? This is something that I enjoy doing and whatnot. But when it comes to the arts and whatnot, I enjoy doing it for people that respect it. How do I feel about Rock Marcy? His character. He, as a character, whatever the character that he is in his music, he embodies that character. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it mixed up when it comes to this music, and these are characters. And as an artist and as a thespian and as an artisan, I am enamored by artists or men and women who can embody a character, right? Whether it's on Broadway, whether it's on Netflix, whether it's on Amazon Prime, whether it's on a stage and whatnot, whether it's in Hollywood, whether it's on the internet, if you can embody a character and stay in character, and you could produce art from the perspective of that character that you embody, to me, that's a form of mysticism. You feel me? And I respect things like that. Like the character called Rick Ross, right? Outside of what I may personally think, because what I personally think about an artist, it really doesn't mean anything if I were truly to be looking at that artist through the lens of a non-biased, quote unquote, observer, right? I can't necessarily put my personal bias into everything, because that's how then I'm not necessarily a connoisseur of the culture. I'm not being a curator of the culture. You know what I mean? I'm not being honest with myself. So I look at certain things through the lens of a journalist. I look at certain things through the lens of a teacher, but I also look at things through the lens of a connoisseur. That's why I may confuse people sometimes. They'd be like, damn, what is Red Pill into and what is he about? And no, you can't figure me out. This is not, don't waste your time. You could do better things like studying financial literacy, my genius. Don't waste your time, because family, I don't even know. You know what I'm talking about? So how could you know? Nigga, I don't even know. You feel me? Like, I'm multifaceted. Let's just say that. You know what I mean? There's layers to this Negro right here. I'm multifaceted, you know? Because Rick Ross don't break character. You know what I'm talking about? He don't break character. His baby mama, oh my goodness. If I had my Lord, what's her name? Tia Kemp. If I had the mother of a child who was like that, I more than likely would get a vasectomy too. I would just say, you know what? I don't, let me just clip the, you know what I mean? Let me clip these bad boys, because I messed up forever. Now I messed up forever. The only way that you could beat yourself up for making that mistake is to clip it. You know what I mean? And just, you know, and just and accept your L. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's one of the biggest L's that he took, because the level of hate this lady has for this man is I can't even fathom this. Like, what did he do to her? What did he do to her? It's crazy. You know what I'm talking about? She literally hates this man, and I could clearly see it, and the vitriol is crazy, right? So even with the attacks that he has to deal with from the mother of his oldest son, he don't even break character. You know what I mean? He stays in his character. He stays in whatever that character is. And for people to try to be like, that nigga's a CEO and he's not Ricky Williams and da da da. I get it. I get it. I understand. But what you realize, or what you not realizing, is hip hop as an art form, all of them people are characters. Todd Smith is not LL Cool J, fam. Yeah, Florida people, they special. Whatever's in the water, y'all eating them alligator burgers and whatnot, y'all are special. Y'all are real special. Salute to y'all. You know what I mean? Salute to the Florida family. And maybe being close to the equator, I don't know. But it's some shit going on in Florida. You know what I'm talking about? There's some things going on in Florida, man. You know what I mean? They will open up your eyes to some shit, bro. They fight differently. So, you know, respect to everybody. Don't you around me, you could be in character. I don't judge. I'm an artist and whatnot. So I allow people to be in character in my vicinity. I told y'all before that my people on 125th Street in Harlem, that was a part of the House of Consciousness, and all of the other people who were affiliated, you know, the ones that were characters, I feel that they missed their calling. You know what I mean? I feel that they missed their calling, because they had what it takes to take that character shit to a whole nother level. I think that they should have been in Comic-Con, or they should have got into the comics or fantasy. You know what I mean? especially some of the people who have fantastical minds and whatnot, who were like, you know, coming up with a lot of, you know, it's like you got to have an imagination to come up with some of the shit that they were saying. You know what I'm talking about? And they missed their calling. You know what I mean? But characters run the internet. Characters run the internet. It was really Charleston White that opened up my eyes to this whole theory and whatnot. And he forced me to sit back and really go through. I did an audit on the whole internet, on all of the personalities that are on the internet. And it came to the conclusion that this whole shit is character driven. This whole shit is character driven. You feel me? And it's not a bad thing. It is not a bad thing. And for the record, I don't rock with Charleston White. He has crossed too many lines for me. I was able to forgive him for some of the things that he's done, but he goes too far for me personally to be like, damn, bro, I can't even say your name favorably because you step way past the line and you talk crazy, you know what I mean, about the wrong things. So while he has dope fiend wisdom, we call it wino wisdom, dope fiend wisdom, the type of wisdom that a dope fiend will give you, or the nigga outside of the wine store, you know, he got that kind of wisdom. He got old man wisdom. He has, you know, he makes a lot of points. I know that he's tapped into some of the information because there's a lot of people on the internet that are characters right now who used to be students of the conscious movement back in the days in like 2013, 14, 15, and 16. Because remember, in those days, there was none of these hip hop podcasts. There was none of these quote unquote, there wasn't content on the internet like that. So the most dominant content on YouTube that was in blackface, that was melanated, was consciousness. Going back to like 20, this is before like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. The biggest wave that was raising niggas was the consciousness. You feel me? It was the consciousness. So a lot of these people coming up, they were students. You feel me? They were students. But once the consciousness thing fell apart, nobody is going to claim it. Nobody's going to try to run behind it, but they're going to pick the jewels or the pearls up and whatnot, and they're going to use it. They're going to use it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what it is. The AMC GameStop, yeah, if you invested in it, you know what I'm saying? If you sitting on them stocks, you know, shit, you should be good. You should be good, bro. You should be good. But I know when I listen to people that I'm listening to a student. I could tell from the vernacular and whatnot. And there's a lot of people, once again, you have a whole culture who have perfected the art of playing dumb. These are smart niggas playing dumb. It's not the other way around. You could easily spot a dumb nigga playing smart. It's a contingency of smart men and women playing dumb because dumb is where the bag is at. That's why I said before, it's Kendrick versus 20. It's not 20 versus Drake. It's 20 versus Kendrick. And what I mean by that is that he represents a bigger threat to the music industry by he's conforming it to a certain type of pedigree, right? When he beat Drake, he beat Drake on certain talking points. He didn't out-rap Drake, he outclassed Drake. What he did is he shamed him. He called him a PDF file. He called him a deadbeat. He called him a degenerate. He shamed him, utilizing some of the same motifs that these niggas use to big their chest up, right? They was bigging their chest up, and he came along and he shamed them, right? So when he threw that rock in the crowd, it just did not hit Aubrey Graham. It hit all of these niggas. That's why Joe Button. That's why DJ Academics. That's why Elliott Wilson. That's why all of these rappers who should have been standing behind Kendrick Lamar 100%. 100%. They were not standing by. They had one foot They had, oh yeah, I think he might have. This is how they were saying it. I think Kendrick might have won the battle, but Drake is still my nigga. Drake is still that guy. Drake is still the number one. Drake is still gonna have a great summer. Like they did not want to let go of this idea of the Drake stimulus package. They did not want to let go of the idea of living in a Drake world, because when you live in a Drake world, keep in mind he was running. I don't care. There might be somebody right now in a tree somewhere listening to this thing, sipping on a coconut, and they're like, nah, Red, I don't listen to Drake. I'm not talking to you, fam. Respectfully. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the population who listen to pop music, right? Who they can agree. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. You know what I mean? He was running the music industry from the top down, from the corporate level all the way down to the street level for more than 10 years. They got the numbers to prove it on the billboards. They got the numbers to prove it in streaming. They got the numbers to prove it in tickets sold. Let's stop playing these games. We are just here to be honest about some things, and we not here. I'm not talking to the people who are I'm talking to the 85ers. Let's just clear it up. Respectfully to the people who are not 85ers, I'm talking to the 85ers because it's more of them than it is of you. And for y'all who are not the 85ers, who do you listen to? Who did you push to the number one? Who did you make platinum? Who did you put on your back and carry these people to success? Okay. So whoever's riding for this dude, whether it's bots, or whoever, they push Drake to be number one for more than 20 years. Okay. He picked up right where Lil Wayne left off. So theoretically speaking, this is a Cash Money artist. So this is not a run. This is a run that started all the way back with the Carter fucking albums, bro. When did Lil Wayne take over? What year was that? Wasn't that like 2005 or 6 or something? Because I know BMF, I know Jeezy was taking over in Atlanta. Jeezy was popping in 2004. He had the 4 and the 5 on lock, right? When did Lil Wayne start snapping? Carter 2 came out what year? Because he was you know what I mean? I remember Wayne was getting that he was getting the major buzz and whatnot. Then he started mixtape Wheezy run. So the mixtape Wheezy run going into like the Carters and whatnot, nigga, that was the takeover. He was doing all of the features. That was the takeover and whatnot, right? And since his takeover stopped when Drake took over. Drake and Nicki, respectfully. So yeah, the dedication series coinciding with the albums dropping and whatnot, he had this shit in a super duper headlock. Although he was a lyrical genius, he had mad flows and whatnot. He brought a level of degeneracy to hip hop that wasn't there before. As a mainstream artist, it was there before with mixtape artists on the underground, but he brought a level of sexual degeneracy and some other shit to the game, right? Because he was on film kissing a man, you know what I'm talking about, more than once. So he brought what they call homoeroticism, hypermasculinity, and some other things to the game. And, you know, for the people who are of a certain age, they probably like, man, we wasn't paying no attention to that. But the 8-year-olds were, and the 9-year-olds were. At the same time, P. Diddy is introducing you niggas to B5. He's introducing you to Bum 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 Bum, right? Chris Stokes and them is introducing you to young boy groups that was wild zesty, bro. So a lot of these young kids was growing up. The boy groups was zesty. the favorite gangster rapper was Wild Zesty. Okay. So what do you expect them to be when they grow up? You know what I'm talking about? Now they sassy. They not zesty, but they sassy. They sassy, aggressive, and whatnot. They Omar from The Wire. And they don't have, they let's go see Little Uzi for Mark Jacobs. Shout out to everybody from Philly. You know, this is not a shot at all. This is just, take it up with him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do it. I'm just saying, this is the generation that came out of the Lil Wayne shit, bro. This is the generation that came out of that, right? Because you can't mix you can't mix the signals up. So this was the tough, you know what I mean? It went from Jeggins to this. You know what I'm saying? But before you have that, you got Jeffrey. So let's not play games. You know what I'm talking about? Before you had that, you had Jeffrey. You know? What we doing? Because Jeffrey came. Oh yeah, let's not even talk about Meek. We'll bring. Yo, what's the Zest Fest in Philly? What's like? Can somebody give me the what is the zest? What's the temperature on the zestiness in Philly? Because I remember when I used to go to Main Street for the Greek Fest. Yeah, it was wild zesty niggas back then. So I don't know how it has. What's the latest update? But Young Thug started. Young Thug precedes him. You feel me? But yeah, this is a byproduct of a lot of the things that have been taking place in the culture. We got videos where we cover it called aesthetic nihilism. Andre 3000 pioneered the weirdo aesthetic. I mean, I wish that they was rapping like Andre 3000, because if they was making that type of music, you know what I mean, it might be overlooked. I think Andre 3000 was able to dip and get away with some of that shit because the music was so transcendent that it was like, I wouldn't think that he would make that type of music with baggy jeans and a fitted cap. You know what I mean? Like, so the look that Andre 3000 was presenting, it kind of matched the aesthetics of the music. And people didn't hear the zestiness in the music. It wasn't like he was making songs, and the songs were fluid. He said, "Sorry, Miss Jackson." He said, "Sorry, Miss Jackson." And we knew he had Erykah Badu. You know what I mean? That's his BM. So when they was asking the questions, and he even Andre 3000, he addresses that in the album Aquemini. He's like, they asking questions. He's saying it. He's answering the questions before he's getting in front of it. He's getting in front of it. You say Love Below is zesty? I don't do that. Don't do that, man. Love Below. He's talking to the prototype. You Love Below, low key. If you really got your Mac game together, Love Below will get you a goddess on your arm. Stop playing. You might not know how to utilize these tools, brother. But Love Below, that's a goddess magnet. Spruce Street. Is that near Main Street? Because we used to be on Main Street. To be honest with you, I remember they was wearing the super duper tight jeans all the way back then in Philly. We talking about late 90s type shit. They was wearing Timbs with the jeggings. I never seen that shit in New York. Thank God that the baggy shit is back. That's what I saw last night. Every nigga that came out on the stage was wearing bell bottoms and baggy jeans. The baggy shit is back. Big boots and baggy pants. That's what's back, y'all. That's what's back. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these tight ass jeans that I got. I got a lot of I'm about to go put the bitches in thrift or something. I don't know what to do with these skinny jeans that I was wearing when it was in, but the baggy jeans are back. You know what I mean? Make no mistake about it. For if you know, I'm a fashionista, so I was watching all of the fits last night. I was like, oh, they bringing big clothes back. Okay, that's what we doing. All right. You know, I'm not mad at that. And they bringing back the 90s aesthetic. No, it's called nostalgia. For all of you youngins, you young whippersnappers and whatnot, you get a chance now to live in your fantasy. You feel me? You get a chance to live and you get to wear Karl Kani, Coogee, a little bit of Versace. You get to wear some of that Ralph, some Hilfiger. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing, you know? It's a beautiful thing because to be honest with you, if you were to ask me, that was the most fashionable era that we all went through. That those clothes are timeless. You could rotate those again. We could do another 10 years with that. So I'm down with that. I'm down with that. You know. You said Love Below had me drinking Merlot with big-breasted women in Atlanta. You understand? Come on. I should do a whole webisode series of my Love Below era in Atlanta. My G. I was you could matter of fact, I'm not even gonna once again because you know I'm against people tooting their own horn because niggas will tell you anything. We gonna ask KT the Arch Degree about what I was doing in the year 2000 during the Love Below era because he was in high school. You know what I mean? He still got PTSD from when I was watching him, and he was in high school over about 2-year run. I was going crazy on Moreland Ave, bro. We was going crazy. You know what I'm talking about? The only consciousnness that I knew was Andre 3000 at that time. What are you talking about? That was the most conscious that I was getting was Speaker Box, my nigga, and Love Below. That was like a lecture to me. I was wild for the night. You know, I was on my I could have wrote the Mac. What's that book, the Tariq Nasheed, the Mac lessons? Nigga, I could have wrote the Mac lessons back then. I was Macing hard. The rotation was crazy. You know what I'm talking about? The rotation was unfair. You know, shit. We was going up out here. You said that's 04? Okay. But last night, it was a wonderful demonstration of artistry. Kendrick Lamar came out and proved that he is who they say he is. Going back to what I was saying a minute ago, he is a threat to the whole entire music industry because they were getting easy money. And what is easy money? The easy money is that the bar got lowered. The people that are running the music industry right now, they used to be standing on couches with us at the Tunnel, at Club New York, at Club Envy, in New York City, back in the days in the years 1999, 2000, 2001, 3, 4, 5. The people that you see in the industry sitting behind the desk, those are the same people that we came up with in New York. It's mostly New Yorkers in executive positions, and then they imported a whole bunch of people from out of town to be inside of the music industry. So they got like white kids from Nebraska. There's a little bit of nepotism taking place. So it's, you know, it's relatives of some of the execs. And then there's like black kids from like Howard and shit like that who came to New York chasing dreams. But the people that's running the game right now, that's my generation. That's these are my day ones and whatnot. And I know personally that once they took over, they made it to whereas they lowered the bar. Okay. They lowered the bar. Yeah, Club MV was super popping. They lowered the bar, and then they made these acts. They start signing these artists and these acts that were considered to be easy money. They wasn't about lyrics. They wasn't about the art. They wasn't about, that was not the focus. The focus was, how are we going to get this bag and whatnot? The easiest way possible. Fuck all of that shit with all of this backpack shit. And no, they wasn't with none of that. They started signing ringtone rappers. They started signing dope boy rappers, and then they started signing gang members in New York. It started with Young M.A., Bobby Shmurda, all of these gang members and whatnot, because those are the people that they could jerk. Those were the people that they could jerk. The dude that committed suicide, Shakir Stewart, he signed Ross, he signed Jeezy, and he signed a few other people. He was at Def Jam. He was one of the ones that was reshaping the whole industry to compete with what was coming out of the South. Because remember, it started with the crunk movement. When I was working in Miami in the year 2003, I was contracted. I was working for TVT Music, right? Which was a subsidiary of TVT was an independent label with Steve Gottlieb and whatnot. And Pitbull was the artist. They had Ying Yang Twins and they had Little John and all of that. So I was there for the whole crunk era. I seen the numbers. We was there for the rise of crunk and the falling of crunk. Crunk got replaced by the Jeezy movement, which was the BMF movement, but Jeezy had the soundtrack. You know what I mean? Jeezy made the soundtrack, but BMF was the movement, right? And that ushered in the trap rap. You know what I mean? Not the trap rap that T.I. is talking about, not that trap shit, because T.I. brought trap rap, but he didn't bring the movie with it. Do you understand what I'm saying? He brought trap rap, but he was a master lyricist, but he didn't bring the real life component to it. That's what Jeezy brought by way of Big Meech and BMF and whatnot. So that took over Atlanta, Miami, New York, and a whole bunch of other things. And it ain't turned around since. It hasn't stopped since. You know what I mean? So Jay-Z is responsible for that. Shakir Stewart, who wound up unaliving himself, he had a hand in that. And a bunch of, and like I said, a bunch of New York niggas are responsible for pushing a lot of that, because behind all of these Southern artists, there's a New York nigga somewhere. There was a New York dude named Phil, rest in peace, with T.I. You know what I'm talking about? Their management, it'd be New York cats. Yeah, it'd be New York cats pushing that. They went behind the camera. They didn't go in front of the camera. They became management. They became the executives, and they became the quote unquote A&Rs and all of these other things. And they started pushing Southern rappers, because when I went from TVT, and then when I came back, I was at J Records. I was at Polo Grounds in 2007, right on 745 Madison Avenue, right next to Bergdorf Goodman and FAO Schwartz, and the Apple store right in Manhattan, right there on Fifth Avenue, 745 Fifth Avenue. That was the building with Clive Davis. That was J Records. Clive Davis was the CEO and whatnot. And we were in a small, we was on, I forgot what floor, maybe the 8th or the 4th floor. We were at Polo Grounds, and Polo Grounds had Hurricane Chris. So from 2003, right, being in the industry and seeing the shift and whatnot, how this crunk shit was taking over. Fast forward to 2007, where Soulja Boy is taking over. Okay, that whole Soulja Boy shit, where the internet took over radio, right? Soulja Boy was the first one who brought the YouTube and the other things. They took over radio. They had the record labels completely in shambles, bro. Take it from me. I was there. The record labels was in shambles. they did not know what to do with Soldier Boy. He was like a hurricane coming. He was like a storm that was coming to the music industry, because they did not understand YouTube. They did not understand the internet like that. They only understood BDS. They only understood what they knew, terrestrial radio and whatever those Billboard charts was. He came out of the left field and he smashed that shit. He came with DJ Smurf. Okay, DJ Smurf, who is a very intellectual businessman. It wasn't just Soulja Boy alone. He had an intellectual businessman. And one of the things about the Southern artists that I can say is that they, to me, are wiser and more business savvy than the East Coast niggas. You feel me? And you would think, how, Sway? How is that? Because a wise man can play a fool, but a fool can't play a wise man. They was sleeping on these executives. They was sleeping on these niggas from the South. They was sleeping on these Southern quote unquote executives and these Southern artists, and they were able to come through and broker deals and make moves that niggas from New York never did. They never got that type of bread, bro. They never was able to negotiate that type of bag. They was running up bags, bro. I was at the label. I saw the checks. They was running it up. They was running it up. So they were making these labels hand over fist money. It was a wonderful time in the music industry. That lasted for just a few years until it bottomed out, you know? And then people like Larry Jackson, who had that interview with Joe Budden. I told people to watch that because you get to see how these businesses, these record labels are now tech companies. They're not record labels anymore. They're tech companies, and they utilize the algorithm and they utilize different metrics and whatnot. And it ain't about selling records no more. It is not about selling records no more. It's about some whole nother shit. Yeah, they was throwing a lot of money away. Soulja Boy changed the game. I'm here to let you know, Soulja Boy changed the game. If I knew what I knew now that I knew back then, I would have changed it with his ass. But Soulja Boy changed the MFing game. They utilized 106 in Park. 106 in Park played a big role in this in the shift that began to take place, because 106 in Park is on cable, right? 106 in Park is on cable. 106 in Park is dictating radio and whatnot, but 106 in Park also married into social media and the rise of the internet, and it was able to kind of like it was a good mesh. It was a bridge and whatnot. So yeah, Soulja Boy changed the game. I could say that. It's the most unlikeliest of things, because I remember listening to the song 80 times and I was just like, what the fuck am I hearing? Like, what are they like? I was confused, fam. I was like, what's going on? Like, why? What's different from this song than any other song? I was confused. The same way I was, at least when I heard "Hey Baby," I kind of understood what that was about. I'm like, this might catch on. This is some catchy shit. "Hey Baby, hey Baby." But I did not, I couldn't for the life of me. I was scratching my head, bro. I was scratching my waves. Like, what are we doing? Like, what the fuck is happening? You know what I'm talking about? Like, and keep in mind, I'm still listening to the Jeezys and the Rosses and whatnot and mixtape Wheezy. I'm like, what are we doing? But shit happens. Yeah, Bow Wow had it on lock. He did. So Kendrick Lamar is an existential threat to trap rap. He's a threat to the mumble rappers, if there are any of them. He's a threat to the lazy rappers. He's just a threat because he represents artistry, and you gotta rap. You gotta know how to make music to even stand with an artist like that. You can't do lazy flows anymore. You can't do get over music anymore. You just can't do whatever you want to do. Keep that in mind, right? That's why he represents
Came in this
quote unquote, that's why they don't like him like that. You know what I mean? That's why you hear a lot of these people talking down to him, because if they were to be like, yo, that's my guy and whatnot, and I love Kendrick and I'm with the whole Kendrick wave, that means that they can't do those lazy bars anymore. They have to figure out something new to talk about. They cannot get over with the things that they have been getting over with, because that is not what Kendrick represents. He's telling niggas that, yo, the new wave is to fall back. The new wave is to raise the children. The new wave is to be disciplined. They not trying to hear that. These people are still rolling around in the mud and whatnot. He represents, he's a threat. He's a threat. They don't want him in the game like that. They don't, there's nothing that they could do to take him out the game. They just don't want to admit that he is the quote unquote king of this shit at this point. You know what I mean? There's no benefit whatsoever to about 95% of the rappers that exist right now in the game if they were to say that one line right there. There's no benefit to the podcast. They can't sit around and be chatty patties. They can't sit around and talk about teenager type shit. They can't sit around. Academics can't sit around and be a buffoon with Kendrick on the throne. They have to allow high-level conversations to begin to take place. And many of these people, like I said before, they are not journalists. They are shock jocks. They are not journalists. You know what I'm talking about? These niggas are streamers. It's a big difference between the two. Streamers and journalists. We're going to take a commercial real quick. We will be right back. Please, I need y'all to go ahead and get your tickets. We got Vicky Dillard as a guest coming up for When in Rome. You know what I'm talking about? When in Rome, Jason 24. That is at the end of the month, starting out the Jason months. We are going to give you all of the keys for the next 6 months. We're going to break it down from 3 different perspectives: Red Pill, Blue Pill, and Vicky Dillard. Okay. Jason stands for July, August, September, October, November. This is when the quote unquote, this is when these Luciferians, this is when they get busy. This is when they do their rituals. This is when they pull all of their tricks out of the bag and whatnot to garner the energy, the life force of the people. Remember, they're able to feed off of that. Your body gives off energy, especially when you're in a fear state, and they are able to feast off of that. They're able to transmute that energy into things that help to benefit them. So let's check this out real quick. I will be right back.
The head of one of the oldest institutions on Earth on Friday issued a warning about the future. Pope Francis told G7 leaders that artificial intelligence must never gain the upper hand over humanity. He said AI represented an epochal transformation for mankind.
Condanneremo l'umanità un futuro.
Pope Francis here in Italy. He's traveled from St. Peter's Square to take part in these G7 talks for the first time as leaders tackle the ethical issues of artificial intelligence. The Pope has spoken out about what he calls the perverse dangers of AI after being the victim of a deepfake photo last year. That image showed him in a full-length white puffer coat. Pope Francis says in the wrong hands, artificial intelligence could lead to disturbing scenarios and is calling for countries to sign an...
In his remarks, he said that AI risked undermining human dignity and, in particular, condemned its use in warfare. Referring to what he called lethal autonomous weapons, he urged leaders to ban their use, saying, quote, "No machine should ever choose whether to take the life of a human being."
Wars drive advances in technology. The longer a war drags on, the greater the push for innovative tech to drive results on the battlefield. The First World War gave us tanks. The Second World War, the atomic bomb. Today, the world is witnessing 2 major wars: Israel's war in Gaza and Russia's invasion in Ukraine, and artificial intelligence has entered both these battlefields. AI is being used by the soldiers fighting these wars. Or you could say, AI is the new soldier in these wars. Israel's AI soldier is called Lavender. It's a killing machine. It spits out lists of targets.
According to Israeli investigative journalists at 972 Plus magazine, Israel has been using an artificial intelligence machine called Lavender to identify thousands of potential Hamas targets in Gaza. The report says Israeli intelligence sources who served in the current war told how Lavender collects information on almost all the 2.3 million residents of the Gaza Strip through a system of mass surveillance, and on a scale of 1 to 100 gives a likelihood that each person is a member of the military wing of Hamas. Being in a WhatsApp group with a known militant, changing address frequently, or swapping phones every few months could all be factors in the machine determining potential targets to kill. The report claims that after October the 7th...
So, on a world stage, in front of developing nations, and in front of reporters, and in front of the world, this man got up there and started capping. Okay? So I can't take anything that he says seriously. This is all window dressing. You understand? So do you understand fully what it is that I was showing in this video? What I was demonstrating was the fact that the Pope just the other day went and addressed the quote unquote G7 nations, and he was speaking about this impeding danger of AI. And what I've said and what I'm showing is that that danger has already arrived. You know, the fact that he never mentioned that the AI is already at war and they have 30,000 bodies, right? Already, right? This is AI October the 7th. You know, it's not even a whole year. And this quote unquote AI that they keep talking about that could potentially go off of the rails, low key, it's already off the rails. Like low key, it's already been deciding who to kill. This is not humans doing this. This is a program. This is a large language model that they have working right now as we speak. I'm not even talking about the robot dogs. I'm mostly referring to the drone strikes that you see taking place. So for the Pope to get up there and not mention that as if he didn't get the research, that let off more red alarm. It set off more red alarms than last night at the forum. I saw more red when I heard that than I seen at a Kendrick show. Okay. So we know that he's capping. And as a result of that cap, it falls right into the theory that I have, and I'm standing on it, that these people are responsible for ushering in the quote unquote antichrist. And I'm not a religious person at all. I'm not into all of that. But what I do know is that people in power and that have power and fake prestige, they are pushing end time revelations. And there's nothing that you or me or anybody could do about it. And they're going to have their Armageddon, and they are ushering in their quote unquote Messiah, and their Messiah is not your Messiah. And this whole antichrist that we've been reading about since day one is going to be transhumanistic, and it's going to involve AI. You could bet your bottom dollar it's going to involve technology. It's going to involve AGI, or what they call artificial general intelligence. And what that means is when the quote unquote computer, or when the system gains a consciousness, or when it wakes up. If you were to ask me, it's already somewhat awakened, right? But when you utilize ChatGPT or when you utilize Midjourney, you are not interfacing with a machine that can think. This is like a calculator. It could compute. It cannot think. These are not thinking machines. It did not reach that level yet. It does not have, even if it shows some type of, they have people dating AI right now. Like they have AI girlfriends and whatnot. So the way that they program it is to appear as if it's sentient, to appear as if it has quote unquote feelings and whatnot. But it is what is known as a prediction machine, similar to autocorrect. You know, when you're typing out a word and it's giving you the predictive of what the rest of the sentence is going to be, somebody will be like, oh shit, it's reading my mind. This thing is telepathic. No, it's a prediction model. They fed it enough data and it's using enough variables to say, if somebody says sometimes you got to pop out, and then it'll be like, and show niggas, right? And show niggas, because it's going to make the prediction that when you say sometimes you got to pop out, and then it will be like based off of the fact that millions of people have used this same sentence and they ended it with pop out and show niggas, that's what's going to pop up. It's a prediction machine, but that is about to change soon. Okay, just keep that in mind. And when it changes, this is when they call it artificial general intelligence, which AKA is called strong AI. And then we'll be dealing with machines that can think for themselves. And the day that happens, that is what they showed. Sophia Stewart put it in the book Terminator and in the Matrix when she introduced us into Skynet. But even before it got there, it's being utilized. These systems, or these quote unquote large language models, they built one to go to war. And going to war, it has been doing, and it's been destroying, it's been catching, it's been creating carnage, and it is responsible for some of the malefic images that me, you, and everybody else are being subjugated to on social media, where they are desensitizing and dehumanizing us with these images, right? Because remember, the robots, they don't have senses like that. It's not like they're saying, oh, this is morally wrong and whatnot. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. Okay. If you ever been around a coworker who people would be like, that person is heartless, they think like a robot. You ever had a manager or a boss who was so robotic that you could cry in front of them? You could be like, oh, I'm about to lose my cat. You could give them all of the excuses in the world, right? And they'll just look at you with a straight face like the Terminator and be like, you're fired, right? Heartless, soulless type of people. You know what I'm talking about? Remember, they just put out a report from Harvard, and this was done by Harvard scientists. And in this report, it was saying that the quote unquote intelligent life forms live amongst us, and they are intelligent, so they blended in with society. When I read that, I was like, shit, I met a few of them. I met one in Venice Beach in 2003. I believe it was the year, or maybe it was 2002. I was with Blue Pill. It made the hairs on my neck stand up. This person that we saw. You know what I mean? Like, you've probably been in an Uber with one or two of them. But make no mistake about it, that this AI thing, it is a double-edged sword. I said it when it first popped out. If you're not going to utilize it for the liberation, if you're not going to utilize it for the restoration, if you're not going to utilize it for the reparation, the repairing of, and if you're not going to use it against the ops, then it's going to be used against you, fam. There's no other way around that. And they didn't waste no time. They didn't waste any time to use it for their benefit. And, you know, it is what it is. And we will be covering that during the When in Rome lecture. I will go deeper into it. I will be able to give you a lot more information, because, you know, this is censored. These platforms have a limit of what can be said and what can't be said. So we are mindful of that. You know, we are mindful of that. So, well, Gregory said, your narcissists and psychopaths don't process emotions like the rest of the people. Yes, indeed. Right. So guess who have programmed some of these AI programs? Guess who are the programmers? The programmers are narcissistic and psychopathic programmers. So they OpenAI, right? Case in point, OpenAI signed a deal with 4chan. No, with Reddit. Okay, with Reddit. So if anybody is familiar with Reddit and subreddits and whatnot, and I believe they did sign something with 4chan as well. Let me look and see if it's a deal with 4chan. But if they signed a deal with 4chan, then that means that they are now collecting data from psychopaths. You understand? Because that's where they be at. This is where they frequent. Okay. So it is a compromising. This is where the there it goes. This is where the radicalized Europeans who basically turned out all of these 4chan kids and created this, and they radicalized the red pill movement, because the red pill movement was not radicalized in the beginning like that. It got very radicalized after the Godfather died, right? So AI trained on 4chan becomes a hate speech machine. After 24 hours, the 9 bots running on 4chan had posted 15,000 times. So this was all the way back in 2022. You feel me? And it just shows you that the AI trained on 4chan's information is going to become psychopathic and sociopathic. And that's exactly what happened with ChatGPT. It scraped the internet and it scraped up data from all of these websites. That's why they started scrubbing the internet of Dr. Sebi videos, Dr. Delbert Blair, the pills and whatnot. We got our channel taken. They scrubbed the internet for about, you feel me? They mopped it up. So when they had to train ChatGPT and Gemini, and there's a plethora of LLMs, large language models and whatnot. You have Anthropic, Claude 1, 2, 3. You have Llama. You have ChatGPT 3.5, 4.0. All of these were being trained on data that was available on the open internet. So they made sure not to train it on information from the master teachers. They made sure to scrub that information out. So when they trained it, it was on buffoonery, tomfoolery, and other things that do not serve us. That's why these LLMs or these AI bots be hallucinating and going crazy and telling people off and whatnot and displaying signs of psychopathic behaviors, because it's been trained on data from this psycho goddamn pathic internet, right? This internet, this narcissistic rest haven for people with mental health issues. And then the algorithm that has been running Meta and other places where we frequent the most, it also is dealing with a level of psychosis, and it's turning people crazy. 7 Bomar has a GPT. He has a melanated, he has a black owned chat bot, and so does Human. I believe Human has one, but Savan Bomar, he has one called Sybil. And Sybil is official. You feel me? Sybil is official. So yeah, and they scrubbed it of Panic. They took a lot of people. And once again, they're taking so many people off the internet that you may even forget about them. They want you to forget about them. You know what I mean? They want to get rid of them. So they are, and then they got all of these newer people that they flood the internet with, and the algorithm puts all of these new people in front of you who don't have one iota of the level of information that you were probably getting used to. But if you keep getting 1-minute TikToks and you keep getting rumors and chatty patties, and they keep getting you Charleston White and Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal, no offense to any of them, but what I'm saying is they're dumbing down the information. You know what I'm talking about? They're giving you lower levels of what you were used to and whatnot. And then they're giving you the gossip people. They're giving you the Wendy Williams knockoffs and whatnot. They're giving you Vlad. They're giving you Adam 22 clips. You know what I'm talking about? Now they're giving you Kai Cenat. They flooded my fucking timeline with Kai Cenat. No disrespect to Kai Cenat, but that's for my son in them. I'm in my 40s. I'm not supposed to be watching Kai Cenat, my nigga. You know what I mean? Even though when he's on my YouTube feed, I clicked the video the other day because he was with his dad and it was Father's Day. But other than that, why do I need to see clips of Kai Cenat sleepover? I'm damn near, I'm not a child, I'm not a teenager. That's for the youth. You feel like AI is more than a machine? I mean, it's a golem. It's a consecrated golem. That's why it's being fed the bodies. It is the beginning of the Antichrist. It is the beginning of the Antichrist. You know? It is the beginning of some type of Antichrist. It's an egregor. I do believe that it's an actual entity that they have somewhere in Jerusalem or one of them places where they all come from. And yes, they are feeding different they're feeding it, they're giving it blood sacrifices. It may be tied into CERN and whatnot. It may be tied into the quantum computers, because keep in mind, they don't even talk about quantum computers like that anymore. And I did a lecture called The Quantum Quickening, and they was talking about quantum computers real heavy in 2017 and 18 and whatnot. And quantum computers are light years ahead of anything that NVIDIA is doing right now, anything that Microsoft is doing right now, anything that Google and all of them. The quantum computers is light speeds ahead of them things, and they're not even bringing those up. So I suspect that that's what's running in the background. You know, I suspect that something is running in the background dealing with quantum. So AI gives off heavy Saturn energy. Yeah. We'll touch on it. The Cabin in the Woods, and they showed the murders, feet, and ball. I couldn't get through that movie. To keep it a buck with you, I couldn't get through it. I gave it some of my time, and I got up out of there. I could not get with it. You know. So let's get back to this Kendrick thing. Did we cover the whole Kendrick thing? Like, are we all, kind of like in agreement that, that show was fire? You know what I mean? Once again, Kendrick came out and he showed why he is who he is, because he wasn't rapping over his vocals. He did a great show, right? Based off of what it is that he had to come and do. I wasn't looking for a Grammy type performance. I was just looking for the boy or the brother to come through and to give us that energy that we really need. We just wanted to see They Not Like Us perform live. And my favorite song, Euphoria, because that's one of my favorites. I told people that's the most slept on song out of that whole battle and whatnot. They don't talk about it enough. He didn't have to know the lyrics because the crowd, they knew the lyrics. So I didn't want to hear no vocals. He did everything perfectly. He is an artist. He is to be studied. From all of my performers out there, let's get into performances. You feel me? Like, let's get into perform. I'm thinking about even doing a workshop where I bring some of the rappers that I know who body the stage and whatnot. One of them is Hakeem Green from Channel Live. He was with KRS-One on the verses. And the way that he commanded the crowd and was able to do his thing, I was like, yeah, I want to do a workshop. I approached him. I was like, I want to do a workshop with you so you could help rappers become MCs. You know the difference, right? An MC is a master of ceremony, and a rapper is, the niggas that was coming out, and almost everybody that came out before Kendrick was a rapper. Yeah, Jadakiss is another one. That's how Jadakiss killed Dipset, because he said, you niggas, you're not rapping, you're not MCing, you're rapping, bro. And it was over after that. Yeah, 616 is slept on. It's definitely slept on, but Euphoria gets shitted on. No, my bad. Euphoria gets slept on and 616 gets shitted on. And I don't know why they do it, but like I said before, the journalists got to go. They're not journalists. These podcasts, they got to go. These radio personalities, they got to go. They are too biased, they are too entrenched, and they have too many relationships with a dying culture that needs to get pushed off of the edge of the mountain. But there's too many quote unquote conflicts of interest. So, like Kendrick said, they all compromise. Academics got to go. He gotta be the first one. We need a public a flogging of academics. He needs to get flogged and whatnot. Cause this boy, this young man, you know what I mean? You know, he's the worst. He's the worst. You feel me? He remind me of somebody who I somewhat detest. He gives me that type of energy and whatnot. You know what I mean? He's the worst. His manipulation, his blatant, he think people is foolish. And I'm like, fam, you the biggest fool because you be thinking that niggas is like slow and you don't even know the eyes that are on you, bro. You don't even know the eyes that are on you. You don't even know we see you and we can't unsee you after we see you. Like, come on, fam. You know you did that girl dirty and whatnot, but you sitting up here looking like Tom and Jerry the mouse in the face. You feel me? Looking like a full moon in the face, and you really think that we gonna buy that bullshit that you selling? Nah, no, fam. Not about to happen. You know what I mean? I get dumber every time I watch this nigga stream and whatnot. And no, he gotta go. He gotta go. You know, the Diddy shit showed me one level of the old school people that are my age with the salt and pepper beards and whatnot. They gotta go. They compromise and they won't give up. They won't give up the goods and whatnot. They won't really go balls deep and be like, it ain't just Diddy, it's this nigga too, and that one too, and son over here, yo, he foul because you know. And I'm not talking about being chatty patties, and I'm not talking about quote unquote throwing the black man under the bus. I'm talking about just standing for something at this point, reading the room, being able to read the writing on the wall, and knowing that it's the ending of an era. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. That's the saying and whatnot. And when you look at all of these quote unquote artists and these personalities, I want you to apply that quote unquote metric. Please, when you look at these people, say to yourself, when in Rome, are they doing like Romans do? Or are they doing like Carthaginians or Hannibal Barker, right? Are they fighting Rome or are they conforming to Rome? That's what you got to ask yourself. Salt and pepper beards, that means gray in the beard, meaning that they come from my generation. They got gray in, if you got gray in your beard, you got the salt and pepper beard, you should be having conversations and you should be having a journalistic approach to the business. You should be standing on more of your fucking morals and values and virtue. That's what I mean when you have a salt and pepper beard, even though my 48 is not my father's 48. And we gotta talk about that one day and whatnot. Like we evolved differently. You know what I'm saying? Yes. The day that the Messiahs came, y'all was trying to catch a flight out on Liar's plane. Yeah, the fire flames. Shit is burning like the liar dames from that David and Goliath fame. That's from the song Money and Power. The day when the Messiahs came, y'all was trying to catch a plane. Y'all was trying to catch a flight out on Liar's plane, meaning that every single artist from Def Jam is Liar Cohen's hoe. Feel me? They're not going to save us. You know what I'm talking about? They was all in Liar Cohen's plane, like laying up with him, bro, getting wild comfortable. And yeah, I didn't like that shit. You know what I mean? It destroyed a childhood memory of mine. I started losing my respect, and I was like, nah, Liar Cohen of all people, y'all capping for him. He talks greasy about us. Like, that's who Dame Dash said is the biggest vulture culture, or culture vulture. So when you look at these artists, when you look at these podcasters, when you look at these personalities, if they moving like they win in Rome, if they moving like Romans, if they moving like a Roman, you already know what it is. At this point in the game, you know what it is. These niggas is Romans, and you can't un-Romanize yourself. Once, you know what I mean? You gotta literally give Caesar back what is theirs. You have to completely denounce all of this shit. And many of those people won't do it and have never done it. They have never done it, and they will not do it, bro. You hold your breath waiting for them. You finna turn blue face. And I ain't talking about nigga in Cali either. You gonna get blue in the face because they're not gonna do it because they're still holding on to worldly things. They still have these people underneath the spell. They're doing they're doing the opposite of spirituality. They're not willing to sacrifice their trinkets. They're not willing to sacrifice the worldly things. They're not ready to detach. But the sad part about it is that they get detached from everything. They refuse to do all of that, but they still suffering based off of the contracts that they sign, based off of the facts that the music industry is a racket and it robs them blindly, based off of the fact that there's a lot of quote unquote it's a racket, it's a RICO. The music industry is a RICO. It's racketeering on the highest of highest levels. Please believe me. You feel me? So for an artist to give that up, for one of these executives or one of these personalities to denounce that, man, that's like pulling teeth. You're not going to see that like that. You're not going to see that. And we have to divorce just the idea or the concept of waiting to see that. I'm not waiting up at night to see nobody do that no more. One of the most prolific artists of this generation, who we just saw on stage last night, he said that I am not your savior. He helped to he exonerated himself from being being held responsible for saving niggas, because that's something that you cannot do. The further you get into your evolution or your growth process, you're going to realize that you will never be able to save anybody, let alone yourself. It's so hard saving your goddamn self. How the hell do you find time to save these niggas? I mean, goddamn it, write a book on it, because it's not possible. It's not possible. The only way that you could save others is by saving yourself, because you become the real lesson. Because we in class, we're going to learn from you. You are a teacher in real life. So if you fall on your sword or if you die on your feet, you are the lesson. Kendrick Lamar is the lesson. That's why we break him down, because he is a beautiful lesson to be taught. He is a beautiful lesson on growth, transformation, and how you basically hold it down, how you could be in Rome and not of Rome. You understand? How you could be in Rome and not of Rome. He shows you the lesson without being your savior, without you having to follow him, because you can't follow somebody that's not outside like that. You can't follow somebody that's not in front of you every day. He pops out. He will, let me pop out and show niggas. But when he pops out, you know that it's a pop out because he don't pop out. That's a bar right there. When he does pop out, you know that it's a pop out because he's not known for popping out, right? They have us thinking that we supposed to be popping out all the time. They got us thinking that we supposed to be chasing fame, that we supposed to be chasing followers, that we supposed to be chasing the camera, that we supposed to always be in the way. And Kendrick come along, he said, I'm out of the way. I'm out of the way, oh low, okay? I'm laying low, okay, on an island somewhere, oh low, okay, with my family off the phone. out of the matrix, out of you niggas' business, figuring my shit out, reading my Bible, reading my bedtime stories to my seed and whatnot. So when it's all said and done, you won't regret this shit, bro, because I'm here to let you know you don't want this empty ass pursuit that they out here selling people, because I wouldn't be talking about it if that wasn't the biggest thing that they selling our people. They selling our people fame. I want to live forever. I want to remember Fame? Y'all might not be old enough to remember Fame with Leon. He was a zesty nigga that used to dance. He said, you idolizing Dot. He's just as big of a hypocrite. Don't let me moral fool you. He was at Diddy and Jay parties, and he doesn't speak on that. So, God damn it. If a nigga wound up at a party, you know what I'm saying? In this world, you are condemned. You know what I'm talking about? You are condemned. You might as well just, you know what I mean? Check yourself into to Rikers Island. Like if you wound up at the goddamn white party with Diddy or Jay, your career is over. That's the new Epstein list, nigga. Let's get Diddy's VIP list. I want to see who was at the 96 platinum party. Like, real? Okay. I'm gonna tell you like this though. And y'all mad young, so y'all wasn't a part of this quote unquote party scene and whatnot, right? The party scene in the 90s was the place to be. The party scene. So one of the most quote unquote biggest parties, or one of the most one of the biggest parties in the cities was a Diddy party. Like, duh. You know what I'm talking about? This was the party era. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. That's where you went to go see all of the stars. That's when you went to go meet you a baddie. You know what I'm talking about? And that's where you was at, so you could flex, nigga, and take pictures, nigga, and go around your way and shut it down. You know what I'm talking about? Don't be fooled that parties was the worst. You know what I mean? Like they were eating people in the kitchen or something. Like, don't fall into the stupid category of talking about shit you have no idea about. And these, like I said, these artists are out here playing games with the audience, putting on, right? They're lying about not being. These niggas was online begging to get in these parties. They was on their tippy toes trying to get the goddamn bouncers' attention. I used to be a promoter at Cheetahs. I remember how it was going down. So don't let nobody lie to you like they was too cool to go to parties, because that was not the case. They just wasn't lit. And they didn't get in every party because they name wasn't ringing like that. This is back in the days. You know? Somebody said, we didn't come here to party. We came to learn Phil Valentine. Right. Respectfully. See, the benefit that's the benefit that the students have that are coming into this game in 2020 and 21. Y'all get to get the information after the people that's teaching you the information already did the work and did all of the fuckery. You can't live through the 90s because it already happened. So the people that are teaching you right now, they lived through the 90s. I can't speak for everybody because I promise you, I didn't see nobody outside like that back in the days except AA Rashid. Out of any teacher that you could name me, anybody, the only person that was outside that I seen was Dr. Sabi, and he was healing celebrities, and he was moving around doing what he was doing and staying out of the way and getting to what he needed to get to. But when we talk about the clubs and the party scene and stuff like that, that was like AA. But AA went and got 10 years in like 93. And he ain't come home. He came home. No, he got 10 years in 96, right around the time when Little Kim was dropping. I remember it clearly because he came over to the crib and I had the Little Kim poster I was just putting it up over my bed. The hardcore. Remember that? So no. Don't. Yeah. Like Gene Deal says, when he went to LA, you understand? Like Gene Deal, who I believe a lot of stuff that he says, he was like, when P. Diddy went to LA, you could not get away with shit in New York like that back in those days, bro. It was not what it is now. You couldn't just be doing super zesty stuff in New York City like that, bro. It wasn't going down like that. You know what I'm saying? Whatever they was doing that shit, they was doing it very sneakily. You dig? But it was wild violent. New York was mad violent. It was politics, like how LA got politics. New York had politics. The gangsters was out there robbing dudes, laying them down. You know, I'm sure y'all heard of the stories of certain crews that be rolling with some of these rappers. You feel me? Fat Joe was scary back in the days. They clowning him now, but I ain't gonna lie, bro. Fat Joe was applying big pressure back in those days. He had them Puerto Rican dudes, they was out there smashing dudes, yo. They was smashing shit, bro. You know, niggas from the Bronx. You had Brooklyn crews and whatnot. They was the stick-up kids. So, you know, this New York where Ice Spice and them is outside and these little teenagers, they, you know what I'm saying, is rapping. That's a new wave. That's a new era. But when hip hop started out, it was teenagers rapping. The Juice Crew with Big Daddy Kane. This is the golden era of hip hop. We talking 86, 87, 88. They were 17 and 18 years old. LL Cool J was a teenager, bro. Slick Rick was a teenager. You feel me? These were teenagers rapping, but they grow older the same way that these teenagers are going to be 30 and 40. I look at Tyler, the Creator. Tyler, the Creator came out last night and bodied that shit. But Tyler, the Creator, came out as a teenager in 2011. And y'all was like, he's mad weird. People was not rocking with him. I remember when he came out, they was like, oh, nah, these dudes is demonic. They crazy. They on pills. He was a teenager. You got to let them grow up. You know, they're rebelling. Remember, teenagers come out and rebel against the generation that comes before it. They rebel against their parents. So they are extra. When we came outside, we was extra. We wasn't all, you know what I mean? We were doing extra shit because we was like, yo, we don't want to be confused with these niggas right here. We're not like these niggas. We're different. They not like us. So the younger generation, they are just completely they try to distance themselves from the older generation and be like, nah, we different. We ain't like that. You know? You said Tyler is zesty but talented as fuck. Yeah, I agree. You know what I'm talking about? Newer generation, they grow by new rules and they do things differently. And that's not to make no excuses. That's just to be honest with my observation that there's definitely differences in generations. You can't walk around and say everybody's the same because culture, it has a lot to do with development. Like there's just some things, like there's some cartoons that if you didn't watch these cartoons, like I feel that there's parts of the culture that you might be missing. Like case in point, I just was watching Black Dot, right? Because Black Dot was outside, right? Black Dot was with us since 2001, right? So Black Dot was outside. And before that, he was in the Bronx. He was an artist and whatnot. He traveled the world in the industry, and he was you know, a part of the culture of New York City, right? So he have a show with Brother Oba where they was talking about the mystery of hip hop. You feel me? He just put it up yesterday, and they're talking about the mystery, not the history, but the mystery of hip hop, running down how certain things have shaped the culture that we call hip hop. But before we called it hip hop, what was being shaped is Black life. You know what I mean? It was our surroundings. It was our environment. Let me hold on. I'm gonna be right back.
Can determine how you go forward.
They not like us. So we should all fast a little bit more.
Yeah, to whatever degree you feel comfortable with, but actively challenge yourself, because that's where growth happens.
The 2024 Bill Russell Finals MVP goes to Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. To KT, the arch degree, making big moves and whatnot. They have him as the holistic health advisor to Jaylen Brown, who just won 2 MVPs. So whatever he's telling Jaylen to do, he made him the best NBA athlete in the whole league this year. So clap it up for KT. You know what I'm talking about? You know, and even KT will tell you, you know, when we were growing up, and that's our little brother. So there were certain things that we made sure that he was cultured in, right? Cartoons, comic books, all of these things play a big part in what our makeup is. Certain titles, certain comics, certain characters, you feel me? Certain cartoons, you feel me? Certain movies and whatnot. You know, that's some of the building blocks of the generation that you see that created the golden era of hip hop, which made it possible for any other eras of hip hop to even come about. So what Oba and Black Dot was talking about was the fact that when we were growing up back in the days in the 80s and whatnot, in New York City in particular, right? We were into kung fu movies, right? And we were we always, not all of us, but they were Saturday kung fu movies. There were Saturday cartoons, and then you got kung fu, right? So you had dudes walking around New York City like how you see in the movie The Last Dragon with Sho'nuff and my dude Bruce Leroy, right? Where we used to walk around the city with kung fu slippers on and black belts. You feel me? Like dudes was really taking that serious. They had ninja stars and whatnot. Some people had nunchucks. You know, that's a part of our culture. This is before Wu-Tang pops out. So when Wu-Tang pop out like in 93, they captured the nostalgia of a generation that grew up with that kung fu shit, but they're also attracting the newer generation that probably knew nothing about the fact that we literally used to watch kung fu movies like people watch Netflix right now. We knew about all of those movies. We was into all of that mysticism, all of that mythology. You feel me? Remember the Asarian tale is very prominent in the kung fu movie genre, right? The son avenging the father's death against the uncle. You see it repeat itself on many, many different occasions. So this is some of the programming that we were quote unquote you know, all subjected to. Because I speak for a generation, is not me. I try my best. I don't try, but I put information out there as a connoisseur of the culture about the time period that many people, I can't assume that everybody experienced it, right? So it's like we are out here sharing sharing the DNA of New York, Brooklyn, hip hop. You feel me? So I hope that it puts things together. So there's 5 cartoons, and I'm gonna go ahead and Google them so we could see it. These cartoons, right? For my generation, I don't know what is it, generation, whatever. The cartoons that everybody in my generation, I know from New York City, right? These are the cartoons that shaped our worldview. These are the cartoons that basically, we are all watching after school. You feel me? Okay, hold on. The first one was right here. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Okay? He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, right? Nigga, this shit right here, this was one of the top cartoons that everybody was watching, right? And He-Man, you got Castle Grayskull and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? His op is Mum-Ra, right? So there you go with the demonization of the mummy and whatnot. But for those of us whose DNA was intact, when we used to see that, we was already, when in the beginning you see Mum-Ra and whatnot, we was getting excited about that. Some of us used to root for the villain. You dig? But this was one of the ones, and this is also programming. Keep in mind, like I'm giving you how they came together, because when you watch, they have some TV. They got these TV series on Netflix where they show the background to all of these things right here, all of these toy series that blew up, and they were explaining that they created the cartoons to sell the toys, right? Hasbro and they say, yo, instead of paying for commercials, we could just put our money together and just start making cartoons and whatnot, and that's going to sell the toys quicker. So that's when you had this explosion of all of these animated cartoons that had toys attached to them, toy lines and whatnot. You feel me? So G.I. Joe features prominently in the psyche of a 70s, 80s baby and whatnot coming out of New York. 60s, 70s, 80s babies. This cartoon right here was, bro, me coming up, this was everything. This is why y'all I guess that's why a lot of people either joined the army or turned into Cobra Commander and them, you know what I'm saying? But G.I. Joe, a real American hero. The toy collection was crazy. You know what I mean? If you had the whole collection, you was really him. Storylines was crazy. The character development is crazy. Destro, the Baroness, Cobra Commander, the twins, the evil twins. They had Zanzibar and all of them. Yeah, man. That was crazy. Now, this next one was when we got real galactical with it. This taught us about our galactical self. This taught us about a part of ourselves that was like mystical, right? This is Voltron. Voltron was the fucking shit, bro. When I tell you Voltron was the shit back in the days, and the car and the toys, oh man, to get the toys, man, you know, everybody wasn't able to get the toys. They could not afford that. But yeah, here go the Voltron right here with the lions, the different lions and whatnot. You understand? So this taught the power of the unification, right? Because all the lions had to come together to form Voltron, right? And then all of the lions had a part to play. So, that's the 5 lions, you know what I'm talking about? You know, people who play sports, they play basketball and football, they understand the significance of that. You have people in gangs and whatnot. You know, it just plays. It starts with the toys and it starts with these ideas and whatnot. But I promise you, it was prominent, it featured prominently in our development and whatnot throughout the years, like for real, for real. So Voltron was the junk. Voltron was serious in New York, you know, and maybe it was for other places. Like I said, I don't know. This is before we started going out of town and whatnot. But even when I went out of town and I've had conversations, people they don't have the same type of experience with these direct group of cartoons, you know. So Voltron was the ish. What was that? 3 already? Oh, now this one, right? So Voltron was more, it was giving us the galactical, you know, it was giving us like, you know, aliens and shit, galactical shit. And then this one right here, right? This to me, to be, if I were to rate the cartoons and the toys and the popularity and whatnot and the wave and the way that it had niggas on, yeah, it might have been this cartoon might take the cake right here. Boom, Transformers all day. You know what I'm talking about? Optimus Prime, Mother Megatron. This is before the movies, y'all. You know what I mean? I don't know how many people would agree that the movie was better than the cartoon series, but Transformers was him. It was definitely it. And the toys was crazy. The toys was crazy. If you had a collection of Transformers, oh nah, you was talking shit. So I don't know which one was more elusive, the G.I. Joe collection or the Transformers collection. But Transformers gave you Decepticons and Transformers gave you Autobots. Those are gangs in New York after a while. Okay, those become gangs in New York. So the Decepticons are a notorious gang in New York. Okay, notorious gang in New York. They bruh, they was catching, you know, they was turning it up. Let's just say that they raised the crime rate and whatnot. They become Bloods later on. The majority of them become the Bloods in New York, right? But they start out as the Deceps and whatnot. You feel me? And then the Autobots, they were in like Clinton Hills, you know, that's near where Biggie lives. They was in parts in Brooklyn, Atlantic Terminal and stuff like that, right? And then the last one that we have to put here, right, is another one that I'm telling you, boy, this was it right here. This is the lineup. Thunder, 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 cats. Wow. I mean, Smurfs, there's some honorable mentions. Yeah, there's honorable mentions. You got Ninja Turtles, you got Smurfs. Keep in mind, this is before video games. There's no Nintendo. Nintendo is not in the house as of yet. We're only in the arcades and whatnot. We don't have Nintendo. So we have comic books and we got cartoons, right? And the cartoons, and then we got the toys. That was life for our generation for a little while. That was just our programming. This is our foundation. You feel me? This is a foundation. If you ever want to make somebody from my generation happy, you know what I'm talking about? Or if you want to help them with their PTSD, or if you want to make them smile, go ahead and take what I just showed you and do what you need to do. You know what I'm talking about? Promise you. Because niggas, if we didn't have it, we wanted it. If we didn't have all the Thundercats, niggas wanted it and still do. If we didn't have all of the Voltron Lions, we wanted it. And for some people, they probably lost it. They got misplaced and whatnot. So it might do them well to get it back. Yeah, DuckTales. DuckTales was crazy. Silverhawks. I had the Silverhawks as well. I had the car, I had the mask. Inspector Gadget was big. Yup. So these are the other. I showed you the top 5, and this is the bench. The bench is crazy. You know what I'm saying? The bench is crazy. The bench is crazy. You had the Smurfs, you had the Jetsons, you had Scooby-Doo, yep, you had Mighty Mouse, you had Captain Kangaroo, you had Minute Mouse, you feel me? Teddy Ruxpin, Inspector Gadget, you had the Gargoyles, Silverhawks, DuckTales, a woohoo, right? And if you take 3.5 and go back and watch all of them cartoons, my genius, man, oh man, I'm telling you, but there's a cutoff point. You can't go too deep into this. You know what I mean? Go with the names that I'm telling you. No disrespect, but it starts getting weird around Teletubby time and whatnot. So we're gonna cut it off. You know, we're gonna cut that shit off at a certain point. Yeah, Incredible Hulk, the live action show, bro. Lou Ferrigno, man, y'all don't understand the wave that shit had when we was coming up. Lou, the Incredible, ask your peoples, the Incredible Hulk show, the Incredible Hulk TV show was the biggest show on that Thursday night, hands down. That shit was it until they killed him off. Captain Caveman. But the Incredible Hulk cartoon was kind of lit. Ninja Turtles took over for a minute. That had a big wave. You feel me? Oh man, the $1 Million Man, Steve Austin. What are we talking about? The Bionic Man, the $6 Million Man, Steve Austin. It's played by Lee Majors, my nigga. I'm talking about, bro. This is TV, bro. This is fucking Dukes of Hazzard, Daisy Dukes, Boss Hogg, my nigga. Roscoe Biko Train. Like, this was crazy. How can you bypass G.I. Joe? Nah, I put G.I. Joe up there. You know I put G.I. Joe up there. Of course. X-Men Evolution. Well, the X-Men comic book. Let me show you, right? The X-Men comic book. Before any of that other shit, it was because we got to put into proper perspective and timeline what came first, right? Because certain things came after certain things, but the Jim Lee era of X-Men, right? That was the era that created the fucking hoopla and the wave. This is all going on. This is the 90s and the 80s right here. All of this creation is taking place all around the same time. It's an explosion in creativity and art. This is not lazy art. This is not that shit niggas is trying to get over with. This is the stuff, bro. These are the classics. So when we see the Avengers and we see these movies and whatnot, certain people who were born, that's all they see is the movie. They don't understand where the hoopla behind the movie is coming from. They don't know that these movies are tied into memories because of what these titles and this intellectual property represented to certain generations. Feel me? So the X-Men movies or this whole X-Men, whatever's going on in the X-Men world these days, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, that's honorable that it still exists. But the shit that we're talking about is certain classical comics that has certain type of experiences during, not reading it later on. No, experiencing it when it was happening. You know what I mean? Experiencing it because when we were experiencing all of this, we didn't, we was doing it because this is what it was to do. Once again, you didn't have 1,000 options of other things to do. You know what I mean? You didn't have oh, I'm gonna choose either the X-Men or this. No, it was just the X-Men, nigga. Like, what the fuck? You know? So these are definitely the building blocks of a lot of people, yo. I promise you. I'm not, you'll see in the chat room, people are like, yo, I remember this shit is bringing back memories. And, like people's lyrics, like certain rappers, they're getting their stories, they're getting their lyrics, they're getting character, they're getting all of this influence from this pool. This is a rich pool of quote unquote gems. It's a rich pool of into what they call imagination, right? Imagination. That's why I tell my students and whatnot, we're gonna start creating these comics, we're gonna start creating these characters, and we are going to create our own narratives. Because these people created their own, they put their narratives into our minds when we was coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a part of Todd McFarlane, and I'm a part of Spawn because this is what I was into. So whatever ideas and whatnot they was putting into these comic books, but this is what's creating the anti-heroes. This is what's creating the super villains. This is what's creating, people who are in their mythos, the Black Christ mythos. They're able to get into character because they're like, yo, I'm on my Spawn shit. You feel me? I'm on my Punisher shit, right? So here goes the Punisher comics. Way before any movie or Netflix TV show or video game or a t-shirt inside of the fucking Urban Outfitters. Like, no, I'm talking about the Punisher when it was underground. I'm talking about the Punisher when it wasn't on some Hollywood shit, when it was just lit. So yeah, the Punisher, the Spawn, the Ghost Rider, the Dark Horse comics. That was my shit. I used to love me some Dark Horse, Lobo, right? Image Comics. So we just going down memory lane. Yep, the Dark Horse was it was more of the darker graphic novels and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? We would go to what was that shit in the village? Forbidden Planet. Who remember Forbidden Planet, bro? I'm gonna have to Google Forbidden Planet and show y'all what that store was. Woo! I wish I could go there with the American Express. Yeah, he got American Gods when it was a comic before it became a TV show. So yeah, that's why they're turning a lot of these books into TV shows because they know we have a built-in audience. There's a lot of people, if they put a title out and whatnot and they just convert it or adapt it for screenplay and whatnot, they know we're gonna sell this to. This is nostalgia. There's people who grew up reading these comics. Oh, let me see. Forbidden Planet. Boom. This is how it looked. But it had all of the toys, all of the comics. Shit was lit. This is before Amazon, before you could go online. You know what I mean? Like there actually was a world that exists before the internet. You feel me? There was actually places that had inventory. You couldn't just go. You had to go there to find shit. You couldn't go anywhere else. You couldn't call them up. Couldn't order it. They didn't have no brochures. There was no websites. Wasn't even an internet back then. Yeah. It was hard as hell to boost out of there too, I tell you. tell you. But yeah, that's it, man. You know, just a little trip down memory lane and whatnot. Yeah, but we're gonna wrap this one up. We've been here for 2.5. It's been a very, very good build with the family. You know what I mean? You dig? Do I remember the land of the lost? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, did they used to show karate films in y'all movie theaters? Because they used to do that too in St. Croix. They used to have on Saturday, the karate films was like a quarter or 50 cents. I remember this was back in the days. And then they had the $2 movie, and they used to show karate flicks on 42nd Street. You know, I'll talk about the dead internet theory on another show. That'll take too long. We'll get into that though, but not on this show. You know. Yeah, so that's what it is, family. I will see y'all on the 30th. We're gonna be with Vicky Dillard. She is our special guest. Red Pill and Blue Pill. We bringing you Win in Rome. Jason 24. And what this is going to build on is the falling of Rome. Okay, the falling of the empire. All of the telltale signs to show you that this thing is nearing its quote unquote descent. Right. And as a result of that, something else is coming up. Okay. So you should never, ever in your life have any type of feeling of despair or fear when you see the old paradigm falling to pieces. You should actually, I would say, rejoice, but don't do it in a way to whereas you're being arrogant, and don't do it in a way to whereas, you know, it's controlling your emotions. Just give thanks, give it an acknowledgement, and keep it moving, and look forward the fruit that's growing. Look forward the tree that's growing and whatnot, and the fruit that's being born from it. That's what I would pay attention to. So when in Rome, you know, it's going to be an exorcism. You know what I'm talking about? You know how Vicky Dillard gives it up. You know how Red and Blue give it up. And we are going to combine our research, our energy, and we are going to strike. You know what I'm saying? The same way that these cartoons that I just showed you, how they, each one of them deal with how to strike at your foe and how to defeat your quote unquote, your ops or your enemies. And right now, one of the biggest enemies that we have is these people who are acting Roman inside of Rome. So when in Rome, we're going to show you how to move like a Carthaginian. Okay. We're going to show you how to move like a god so you could prepare yourself for the end of this election season, which is over at the end. J is July, August is A, September is S, O is October, and N is November. That is going to be election season. I promise you, from when you hear my voice right now up until when November comes, the world is going to be different. It's going to change dramatically in these next 5 months. And we have some of the information that you need that you can navigate with, and you can make decisions based upon moving forward and whatnot. So check us out on the 30th. We will be on Zoom only. You can find the tickets in the Eventbrite. I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and then you'll also be able to find that in the description. Okay, it is inside of the description. You could click on it and go to the website. We'll have it on KTL University later on today. Right now it's on Eventbrite. And yeah, let me drop this link. You had Atari in the 80s. Oh, you had Ataris. Okay. You was lit when you had the Atari. I didn't have Atari. I wanted it. I had the Nintendo though when it first came out. I had Gyromite, and I had robbed a robot, and I had the gun for duck hunt. I was lit. That's when everything changed too. We'll do a show and we'll talk about the rise of the video games when how everything changed when that came about, and life, life for me specifically, what it started doing. But yeah, that's another day. Like I said, yeah, make sure y'all sign up to the Patreon. Make sure you hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe to the channel and press the bell. All right. So you get informed, because we do upload different videos throughout the week. It's not only Melanin Monday and Third Eye Thursdays. We got Sacrilegious Sundays, and we have Saturday Night Lives. You dig? And we also have Blue with his sermons on Sunday, Pope Pablo. And then we do random uploads. So make sure y'all subscribe to the channel so you could become informed. The old Nintendo running mat. Woo! You bringing it back with that one. Damn. Yo, Duck Hunt was super lit. I used to you didn't want to put the gun on the screen and cheat and whatnot, but sometimes I just get lazy and want to do a little bit of cheating. But Zelda, Tecmo Bowl, Double Dribble, you name it. Like, it's some fucking classics out there. The first Madden. My crib turned into an arcade, low key. When my peoples was at work, the crib was a full arcade and all that. I should have charged. Ninja Gaiden. Ugh. Ninja Gaiden. Metroid. When you rolled up into a ball, right? Ninja Gaiden. That was it right there. Double Dragon. Okay, you said it at the same time. Contra. Uh-huh. Mike Tyson Punch Out. Yeah, that was it, right? Tecmo Bowl. Tecmo Bowl was it. Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage was crazy. Turtles in Time. Shinobi. All right. And Super Mario, of course. Outrun. NBA Jams. Excite Bike. Mega Man. Remember? Oh man, y'all taking it there. Y'all taking it there. Yeah, Contra was lit. Zelda was the shit though. I remember the Zelda trying to defeat Zelda. That was like, nigga, that was the hero's journey. For real. But yeah, man, we're gonna build once again, love and light to the family. You dig? We will see you. LA, stand up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got the wave right now. You know what I'm saying? Put that music out, and tell Kendrick to help y'all with the performances on stage so y'all could be lit like him. And we got a movement. You dig? So love and light to the family. Peace.